circuits they roam. In a world where the data is the unsung hero. Welcome to the stage, the Eat Sleep Code Show. Syntax tight, our semicolons in a row. With the AI beats and the database flow. Grab your gear, hit compile and let's go. We're breaking walls in our virtual chateau. With every line we write, our universe will grow. Welcome to the grid where the brave dare to code. Eat, sleep, code, let the systems overload. Sending signals in the neon afterglow.
Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Teller podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbeneau, and with me, as always, is my co-host, John Bristow. How are you doing down in lovely Australia, John?
I'm great. I'm actually in a new place today. So I'm with the R&D group here in sunny and beautiful Noosa, Queensland, Australia. So we were here for an offsite discussing all our plans for the upcoming year. It's been great, but I'll be leaving today. But yeah, I'm still at the hotel. So there you go.
Well, I appreciate you joining us from the remote location, and hopefully it's worth your while. We had some fun last week. We got a couple interesting stories this week, but we might as well start things off with an announcement on HashiCorp and IBM, and then we'll work our way into some AI news, and we have quite a bit of .NET stuff to talk about as well.
Yeah. So HashiCorp has joined officially IBM. I believe the sale price was $6 billion. It's up on Twitter, and congratulations to the team. Congratulations to the folks over at HashiCorp. So HashiCorp's been around for a while. They've got a lot of great technology, and now they'll be joining the fine folks over at IBM. And so I think what this will do is basically provides greater greater access to a lot of customers, etc. Get a little bit of support there for some projects. So really cool to see, and really happy for the folks over at HashiCorp.
Hey, we got an old friend joining the show from chat. We got Eric Bouchard on X in the chat. Hey, Eric, how are you doing, buddy? And Matt Groves as well. We should probably bump into each other pretty soon, Matt. If it isn't at Star Trek, it'll be somewhere else soon. Yeah, it's funny, like IBM was computers when I was a kid. Like it was like the quintessential, like it was like Kleenex is tissues, IBM is computers. And then, IBM's always been there. They just kind of haven't been like front and center on the news cycles for quite some time. But I think AI's brought that back kind of full circle, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've been in that space for a while. They were part of that group. I think it was Deep Blue, it was called back in the day. So they've been moving into that sort of big iron, big tech, a lot of AI, a lot of machine learning space. And I think this complements that story, obviously, in the back end or the data center where HashiCorp thrives. They do a lot of work there. So for folks who don't know HashiCorp, they're probably best known for their tool called Terraform. And Terraform is a way of standing up infrastructure via configuration. So you define a text file, you point it at some infra, or you point it at some blank infra, and it stands it up for you. Thus the name Terraform. So they have other solutions as well, but this is a nice sort of win-win, I think, for both companies, because that's where IBM tends to thrive and operate.
Nice. Yeah, they're behind Watson and some of the other big AI stuff, and they mentioned AI, generative AI in here as well. It's be interesting to see, and they're a sleeping giant in the AI game. I don't even know if you want to call it sleeping, but one of the less talked about. Like you always hear Microsoft, you always hear OpenAI, and some of the I don't know how to word it politely. the more
Relevancy,
fashionable
relevancy.
yeah,
Yes,
but
yeah, I
they're
was
not
gonna say
irrelevant.
relevant.
That's the thing. They're doing work and they're just not like talking about it or something. Like they've
Honestly,
always
I
been
think
there. They've
it's
always yeah.
yeah, it might be better for them just to fly underneath the radar. To be honest, there's so much news and that hype cycle that happens in tech. It might be just better just to get their jobs done and just kind of fly below the radar there. So this
Yeah.
is definitely going to put them definitely on the that radar screen, so to speak. But yeah, I'm with you. I think definitely don't want to keep your eye off them. They're going to probably do some great things.
Absolutely. Keep your eye on IBM. More on the AI fronts, OpenAI, introducing ChatGPT 4.5, a research preview of our strongest GPT model available to pro users worldwide. So I haven't quite read up on this version yet. Have you, John?
I have. You're still showing the blog for HashiCorp, by the
Oh,
way.
fix that. Thank you.
There you go. So yeah, I've been a long time user of Chat GPT or Chat GPT, whatever you want to call it, and I've been using the various models they have there. Works great. I think it's excellent. I don't pay the $200 premium. I pay the $20 premium, so you can submit more queries, etc. But obviously, an evolution of their model is great. For me, I think I'm really excited by the fact that there's a lot more reasoning being done in these later models. So you got O1, O3. Those are the ones that I've leveraged from time to time.
Mhm.
They generally, if you're asking general knowledge questions or general sort of, hey, help me draft something type questions or prompts, all the responses are generally the same. It's where there's anything related to science, technology, engineering, or math, or solutions, or logic, or programming. That's where you want to start utilizing the O1 or O3 models. And so ChatGPT 4.5, the model gives some additional capabilities around that, which is cool. There is another capability of a ChatGPT, which I don't use, which are the tasks, which are scheduled tasks that you can run based on workloads that you want to provide. So that's something I haven't had a chance to look at yet, but definitely encouraged by the results. So as you can see by the graphs, they're doing quite a good job in terms of their processing with their new model for 4.5, which is great to see. So yeah, I won't pretend to know everything that goes into this, but based on the announcement, I'll be definitely taking advantage of it, hopefully soon.
It looks like they reduced the hallucination rate from 4.0, which I thought 4.0 was actually quite good.
It is. It is quite good.
So to see that reduced by quite a decent amount is impressive. I'll have to try this out when it is. It said it was available to all pro accounts. I don't have a pro account, so I'll have to see when this is available on. I typically use Azure for this right now because I have access to things on Azure. So I'll have to see if that shows up soon. And I'll have to kick the tires on it because, like I said, 4.0's been pretty impressive to me.
Yes.
I was able to do some natural language processing and get the AI to understand like how some of our components work at Progress, and I thought that was pretty compelling use of AI, and I want to give more of this a try. With that said, Claude 3.7 is available on GitHub Copilot for Visual Studio. Again, I have to check on Azure and see if this is available there as well. I know they've got a couple models that you could choose from on there to experiment with, but in Copilot, you're able to choose your models now, and they've added Sonnet to that list of models to choose from. And from what people were saying on social media last week, they are very positive of this change. So it looks like Claude 3.7 is really good, not at just coding in general, but at .NET. So a lot of the .NET devs were like, "Hey, this is good. Try it out."
Yeah. The folks over at Anthropic are doing a really good job of their language models, and I've heard the same, which is I haven't had the chance to use Claude yet. I hear it's really good at code gen, and that what folks are seeing from Claude is excellent. So definitely love the fact that you can just plug and play these large language models into your favorite tooling.
There's actually a Claude workshop as well. I had it on a show a couple weeks back, but it's really easy to find if you just go on GitHub and Google for Anthropic's GitHub repos. It's one of the top ones in there, and you could walk through like a whole prompt engineering courseware that they have. It's actually really well written and gets you kind of familiar with the Claude interface. So give that a try as well.
Mm-hmm.
This was an interesting blog post that was on the .NET blogs, building .NET AI apps with Chroma. So Chroma is a database, a vector database, open source vector database that you can use for building like RAG type applications. And there's this whole how-to article now that there is an API for .NET for the Chroma DB client. So
if you want to find out more about this, you go to trychroma.com, I believe it is, and you can read more about
I think it's linked up here at the top of the article as well.
There you go.
So if you haven't seen Chroma before, it talks about how it's an open sourced AI database application, and you can get the gist of it here. But it's open source, so people love their open source tools. And there is an SDK for .NET C#. So if you want to do things with .NET, I'm actually building something right now that I may try this out with. I'm trying to use Blazor.NET in C# to build kind of like an AI showcase. So you can just kind of, you want to solve a problem, you can just go to this app, open it up, and like look through samples of things that can be done with AI and .NET.
Yeah.
So this will probably end up being one of those things. And then when this is ready, I'll publish it and stream on it and stuff like that. So that's something in the works in the background. But I thought this was nice. It gives you kind of like this is like the to-do list app for like RAG, by the way. I've noticed this with RAG topics that everybody likes to do the movie database.
Yeah.
This is like the quintessential like to-do list for like front end, like React and stuff. So you build your database up, and then you can do embeddings based on the movie description. And this will help you do vector search on topics within the description and get back results that are contextually similar to those items. So you can check that out. There's a video up on their YouTube as well. They're doing a lot of good stuff on that learn.microsoft.com, by the way, if you're doing any pretty much anything. It doesn't have to be .NET or C#. Just any Azure stuff, of course. Check that out.
Good stuff.
And then we have a big topic for today. We'll probably spend a little bit of time here. .NET 10 Preview 1 is already out. I know I say every time, it feels like we just launched a .NET 9. And here we are, the second month of the year, and we already have a .NET 10. So
.NET
Preview
9
1 is out.
last month. Come on.
It's like JavaScript frameworks now. It's like that was yesterday. That was so yesterday. There was like an X thread earlier today I was reading where people were they were talking about like somebody that was complaining about the progression of Tailwind and some other JavaScript libraries and how they go too fast, and they're having a hard time keeping up with tutorials and training videos. And then people were hitting back with like, well, I'm glad you're complaining about things being updated so you can't sell your wares of tutorials and training videos. And it was like this whole back and forth thing is like this unhealthy conversation on Twitter, which that's pretty much what Twitter is these days anyway. Who are we kidding?
Pretty much.
Anyway, we're moving along quickly. And I will admit, it is hard to make tutorials about these things when they do move this fast, but I'm not complaining.
They do.
It's just the nature of the beast. That's why they call it the bleeding edge, because it cuts and it hurts. So we've got some new libraries making their way into .NET 10, updates and runtimes and SDKs, and then of course C# updates as well. I want to dive into some of these, and
Sure.
I think C# is probably a good place to start. And this field-backed properties is interesting. Have you heard about this before, John?
Yeah, I saw this with the GitHub. I think it was like a README or a doc or a Markdown file that talked about it in the 14 notes. So that was really, really recent. And as you know, when they talk about the upcoming releases, they also they put this under the auspices of the core repo up on GitHub, and so you can read about it there.
Yeah, I actually tried to use this one day before, and I think I may have either seen it at like an MVP summit or they previewed it at .NET Conf or something. And somewhere
Well, we
it's
talked
stuck in
about it
my
on the
head.
show like a few shows ago.
Maybe that's what it was. Somewhere
Yeah.
it had stuck in my head that this was already a thing, and I started typing it, and I was mad the compiler was rejecting it. Like, this is so handy. Why can't I use this? Why isn't it working? I know I'm doing this right. And then I looked and I was like, oh, it's not even in preview yet. Now it's in preview.
Yeah.
But essentially what this does is we went from the fully backed property, with a setter and a getter in .NET. And then they added syntactic sugar around it to make it an auto property. So you just type in the get, the set, and the compiler fills in the blanks. Now, this leaves like a gray area of, this middle ground where you want to do some of this work, but you don't want to write it all out. And right now it's either all or nothing. So what the field operator or keyword does is you're getting your auto property, you're getting your cake, you can eat it too. You're getting your auto property. You could say, just, get the backing property. It's not going to be declared or backing field. It's going to be declared, get it. You know what it is, compiler, generate it, put it there, whatever. But on the set, I want to do something to manipulate that backing field. And without actually declaring a backing field, I'm just going to throw the field keyword in, and then the compiler can infer that this is going to do something with that backing field. So now you can say set the field to the incoming value is greater than 0. So it's going to set that value, or if it's greater than 0, it'll set the value. If it's not, it's going to throw an exception. So this is kind of a simplified example, but this field keyword is nice to have where you can modify that backing field, to your needs rather than having to write out the entire property and add that field manually. So that's a nice update. I like where that one is going. So I wanted to highlight that one. Let's see where we've got some other interesting things. We've got some ASP.NET Core and Blazor updates as well.
Yep.
Let's dive into some of those. There's actually quite a few things in here that are nice. What do you call these type of changes? Housekeeping, I guess. Quality of life. Open API 3.1 support. This is
that's the big one.
.NET 9.
That's the big one for me, because I know that you think you think Open API 3.1 over 3, for example. It's not a big deal, but it is. 3.1 actually is where, for me, a lot of the stuff that got ratified was really important, especially around JSON schema. That was the one thing that was really important in my books. And so adding support for that is huge.
There's also some breaking changes coming with this Open API update, but there's some other breaking changes in this release as well. So we'll try to find those and talk about those too. You can generate Open API documents in YAML format for you YAML fans out there.
Aficionados, yes.
There is a new response description, produces response type. that gives you, let's see, this is for Open API documentation. So it tells you what type of status codes are coming back in an example of those status codes. This one is for Blazor. Detect if a URL is local when using redirect HTTP. Actually, this could be ASP.NET Core and Blazor. If it's a local URL. So this is handy for authentication stuff and just making sure that the links that you're sending people out to are on a local URL or not. This is probably just something we manually coded before, now is built into .NET. Let's see, that one's not as important. Blazor static web apps, web assets. This was an update that came in .NET 9. So we got static web assets in Blazor. And what this does is there's a new keyword that you wrap around any static web asset, and that tells the compiler to when you deploy, to generate a broadly zipped file of that static asset and then fingerprint it and cache it. Now they've taken, because they have this new feature, they've taken the Blazor web.js. This is like the bootstrapper, interop, things that provide a lot of services to Blazor in the browser. They've taken that out of an embedded resource and moved it to a static web asset so it can benefit from this pre-compression and fingerprinting capability that was added in .NET 9. So now we've got an uncompressed file of 183 kilobytes, dropped it down 76%, making it 43 kilobytes. And this also helps cache this file and serve it up quicker. So you're going to get quicker boot times out of that. And then we also got routing, syntax highlighting in Blazor route attributes. And this was something that David Pine committed to the .NET repo. So there's a lot of contributions from the community that got shout outs here. And I think that's pretty cool. They've been asking for people to try to commit some time to add things to get pull requests in and stuff like that. So that's another initiative I think they're taking with .NET 10 is getting more involvement, getting PRs done.
Very nice.
So some good stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try going back up to the top level here. We've got some Maui updates, WinForms, any framework core. I'm trying to see if I can find the breaking changes stuff. There was something in there. I'm trying to remember what it is that was important. It was on the official docs. I'm trying to find where that
It's probably under the SDK. There's a full release notes link there under SDK. Oh, okay. That's on Roslyn, obviously. Okay.
No, this is very specific on something else. Maybe it was under ASP.NET Core. I saw something earlier when I was going through this. Maybe it's C#. No, that was the same breaking changes I was just on. Give me 1 second here. If I don't find it in a second, we'll move on, but it could be on the ASP.NET stuff. Yeah, this is it here. So I'll share the screen. This was on breaking changes in .NET 10. And there was something that I noticed in here on system.link, async enumerable included in core libraries. So the behavior change noted here is source incompatible. And if you look underneath of this, what they've done is there was actually a community library that was system.link.async. And there's some ambiguities when using it now because they've added the async enumerable of T class to the actual system.link namespace in .NET 10. So there's an officially supported, not a community maintained, but officially supported async enumerable now, and this could cause conflicts if you're using the community NuGet package that collides with that namespace. So I thought that was an interesting one. So that means we're getting this async enumerable in link in .NET 10. So that'll be something to keep your eye on as well. All right, John. I've got something that we both saw this. This is interesting, and the folks are going to love it because every week we try. It's not always news out there we can share, but there's really important things that happen in this space every week. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So here we are. This week in Can It Play Doom? This is a video by Michigan TypeScript. And I'm not familiar with the person or group of Michigan TypeScript. All I know is they have ported Doom to run on TypeScript types, not TypeScript code.
No, it's more than that. It's basically all the stuff that you need. He almost replicated an entire computer, basically. So all the stuff that happens at an extremely low level within Doom. Memory allocations, heap management, graphics, etc. All of that has been meticulously and carefully well over a couple of years have been migrated into proper static types in TypeScript. Unbelievable. You don't understand how much work this is. This is an unbelievable amount of work. And he even goes in the video to say that he didn't even use AI because he couldn't. It was just the types were too low level that were in the original code because there's a lot of assembly, etc. So he uses a combination of TypeScript, WebAssembly, and other things to basically make this all happen. But all those things you see listed, you just scroll past. Yeah, were basically everything to get it running within TypeScript. And it is, I don't know why he did this. Maybe because he could. Maybe because it was the mountain and
it had
he felt
to be
like
because
he needed to climb it. Exactly. But this is an ungodly amount of work. And that's the scene right there where he shows basically the number of types. And then he gets, what's great about this video is he goes off to these TypeScript luminaries, ask them for their opinion, and they're all like, oh my God. So there's like a node, there's all the types in node, there's definitely typed there, and then here's his app. So an unbelievable amount of type declarations, and of course he's playing the Doom music in the background here. And these are all the sort of folks that he got to review. Basically, he interviewed everyone to take a look at his work here. And so, yeah, unbelievable.
The logo and the T-shirt is absolutely phenomenal as well.
It is. So everyone's reacting here to basically these one-on-one interviews that he's having with them to show them what he did, and they're all like, "Oh my God, why did you do this?" So I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I replied to the tweet that I'd love to see what Anders Helsberg thinks about this. And I don't know if he'll be at the MVP Summit, but if he is, I may actually try to grab him for just one split second to share this amazing news.
You know what you could do is try and hit up Dimitri for a T-shirt and take it to him and get him to wear it. Take him a photo of him.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
that would be really cool. But yeah, this is phenomenal. I love it. And then finally, I've got a fun app that I thought would be something you would recommend to me when I talk about AI augmented reality and Visual Studio.
What?
I don't know if this is a real app or just something that's satire, and it's called Touch Grass. And
what's the point of this?
What it does, it gives your phone access to like your time that you're spending in social media apps, and as you're doom scrolling, it will after several minutes, it will say, "All right, I'm going to lock your apps," and then you have to go outside and take a photo of you touching grass.
Is this what it's come to? Is this what it's come to?
It's like
Oh my God.
verifying that this is you touching grass. All right. All right. Well, unblock your apps for 15 minutes now.
Wow.
You've been good. You've gone out and touched grass.
Wow.
Well, this is a real thing or a
Wow.
concept. It's hilarious. I love it. This is my Bristow pick of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate it. I don't really have much to say. This is, I mean, it's good.
I
I
think
think
you're
it's a
mad
good
you didn't
thing,
think
but
of it.
yeah, maybe pet a dog is next. I don't know. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
unreal.
Wouldn't say mad. You're
Touch
envious. You
grass.
didn't think of it. Like this, I could totally see you doing this, John. Like
Look,
I
Ed,
invented the best
my whole
thing.
career is one failed app idea after another. Believe me. So this is nothing new to me. You know, the missed opportunities, etc. Um, yeah, touch grass. Who knew?
I say the apps that made companies the most money that I worked on are probably the ones I invested the least amount of time and code
Sure,
making.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Like one of them, I could talk about because it's been a bazillion years and I know it's not being used anymore. There was this process that I inherited, and it was like I think it's actually the first like actual real application I ever wrote. It's probably the most profitable one to date. Like this guy that was not trained for this job had surface mount parts that he would get, and they had to be put in an oven and baked at a low temperature to remove the moisture from them. And if they were not baked at the proper temperature and time, and they went out to be wave soldered, they would explode. No, like, catastrophic, like blow up a machine, but it would destroy the part. And sometimes these parts were thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars per part. Think of like an expensive, like custom CPU that's like 10 grand, and it's being surface mount, like wave soldered. And it goes on the board and it heats up and then it explodes into like little fragments. Somebody's going to be upset.
Yeah.
So when this would happen, they would go to this guy that had like little to no electric or little to no training on like chemical engineering and component production processes and all this stuff.
Right.
He's just like an hourly dude that was given this task, and he's got like calipers and he's measuring parts and doing math that he's not familiar with, and then looking up things in a book. And I looked at this problem and I was like, I think this would fit in a small spreadsheet / database. So I put together a very simple SQL database, and I went through and ripped these specs out of they were JADIC specs, put them in the database, and then all he would have to do is like scan a part in our ERP system, and it would get the stuff that he was measuring manually out of our ERP system, bounce it off the database, and it would give him a time to throw these things in the oven and a proper schedule of when to take it out. So it was a very, very rudimentary thing with a little SQL database that kept track of this stuff for him. Saved him so much time and saved us so much money. And I'm telling you, it was a little VB6 app. It was so easy. And like that thing probably made so much money for that company.
Nice.
It's always the simple things like
Yes.
that make the big dollars. It's like
Agreed.
you can over engineer all of these things and AI the heck out of it and still lose money. So if it's not the old man story of the week, I don't know what it is.
There is one story I did forget to mention, which is
okay.
There's a text editor called Warp, which is now available for Windows. So it's something that I forgot about it because it had been announced for Mac a while back, and all us in the Mac community were like, yeah, whatever. But they just announced that it's available now for Windows. So you can check it out at warp.dev, I believe is the URL.
The intelligent terminal? Is it editor or terminal?
Terminal. Sorry, did I say editor? I
Oh,
meant
okay.
terminal.
I think you might have said editor, but
Sorry, I misspoke. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a better terminal and you're sick of PowerShell and CMD isn't cutting it, and I don't know what else to mention, but you're looking for an alternative, this is something you can possibly look at. So
I tried something like this before, and hopefully this is different. I have to check this one out and see. There's another one of these, and it's really nice looking, extensible as heck. What is the other one called? Let's see if I can find it on my system here. Shoot. So the one I had.
Are you thinking about my Posh?
No. There's one that I had, and it was built on Electron. I can't find it now. I'll have to maybe mention it on the next show. It was too slow because it was built on Electron. As cool as the features were, it was laggy. And
that's Electron, dude.
Yeah, that was the problem. But it was cool because you could you could style it with CSS. You could make plugins with JavaScript.
Right.
It was really neat, but it wasn't practical. So I don't know what the warp is.
Well, there's the Microsoft reimagined terminal, isn't there? Like MS Terminal that they did.
Yeah, there is that one. The updated terminal. I think it's the default terminal now. If I'm not.
So, anyways, this is Warp. You can check it out. It's available for Windows users now. So this is old news for us on the Mac, but for folks who are Windows users, you can check it out.
Yeah, it makes me think of OS2 Warp. Do you remember that? Did that make you feel old?
Circle. IBM, we brought it full circle. Look at that. Well done, Ed.
Does that make you feel
earlier
old?
Today? And there you go. OS2 Warp. There you go.
Yeah.
I love it.
That was a thing. That was the alternative OS that was going to take over the world. Now the Zoomers are like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
Is this
go back to your whatever
Mac OS
lattes
theme? What does he mean? This is one of those before cell phone things, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's before cell phones.
Yes, much before.
Yeah, I'll have to look up that other command line tool. I have it on my system. I don't know why it's not coming up. But yeah.
So all
righty, folks.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that in the last second.
No, it's great. It's all good. And again, thanks for joining us from your remote location, John. And
it's not bad here. It's nice.
Yeah, it looks nice. Thanks for joining us, everyone, in chat. We had quite a few people joining us today. So we'll have to do this again next week. Take care, everybody. And we'll have some more news for you next time.